The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Don't adjust your screen. There is nothing wrong. You're about to enter a world where the very concept of time is rendered obsolete by the sheer power of entertainment. You're about to enter the Boggis Hour. The host of the Boggis Hour, Greg Boggis.
On this episode of the Boggis Hour, I interview comedian, magician, business entrepreneur, blog radio host, my good friend, comedian Tom Hayes. So here I am with comedian Thomas J. Hayes.
Greg Boggis.
How are you, Tom?
I'm fantastic.
It's great to see you. Thanks for coming up from Boston.
Yes.
And would like to get to know a little bit about you as a performer. But before that, we'd like to do a little bit of the foundational work, find out where you came from and how you got to becoming a comic, an imposter, a magician.
I'm really here today.
Cartoon writer.
Yeah,
you've really got a pretty broad palette of entertainment skills.
Yeah, it's you forgot Lover. You
A
know,
Lover, of course.
Paramore, the big part of my life, the most fun part of my life. But gee, well, we're gonna be talking about our friend who just passed today, and those big questions about life come out, and
sure.
So you wonder, how do you get here? And I think we're all trained to think that we have something to do with it, and we do have a lot to do. We show up. But the big things kind of take us and misdirect, direct, rearrange. So here's a white kid born to Irish-Italian family. Mother's Italian, father's Irish. Lived with my grandmother, extended family, uncle is in Roxbury, Massachusetts.
And what year?
1947, right? A baby boomer.
1947.
Right after the war.
Just post-World War II.
Yeah, ready for Elvis and rock and roll and the whole 50s. Amazing decade.
Sure.
So, but I'm a white kid in a predominantly black neighborhood, which shaped my life in a million different ways. Tons of violence on the streets. Father wasn't, hey, Dad, sorry, but wasn't shy with his hands as well. Right. I mean, when it was necessary.
Which was, I think, something that years ago wasn't quite as socially frowned upon as it seems to be, as it is now.
Yeah,
it was, I always joke about The Honeymooners, which was a sitcom series, and the premise of the guy was always this far away from assaulting his wife. And you think about that now, and just no way. But back then, it was like, it's the whole punchline of the show was one step away from assaulting somebody, his wife. Unbelievable. So you're talking 47, you're 57.
47, yeah, a lot of violence on the street, a little violence in the house. Yeah. Never at my mom, but when we deserved the good whack, we got it. And then in the school, the nuns beating the crap out of us in the school. So there was all of this.
They could wield a pretty good yardstick and ruler, from what I hear.
And I have this problem that people say, why do you let things bother you? And I realize it's just we're given a certain character when we land here. And mine was the warrior, the fight. And I can remember, I think in the 4th grade, I had a fight every single day, and usually stepping between a bully and a victim, and so all of that. And then, great music,
that's you're talking the kind of the end of the big band era into the crooners era, and then
beautiful. you know, Glenn Miller every Sunday.
Gosh, sure.
Nat King Cole. I mean, after Mass, and after the donuts and the fried dough and everything else, yeah, it would just be Nat King Cole and show tunes, Gigi and South Pacific. And so, and, you know, when we talk about Bobby, you know, he's just an amazing fan of jazz. And I think it's always been said that the best comedians are big jazz aficionados. Sure. That rhythm, that timing.
Well, yeah, that's the whole George Carlin. There's that whole almost like a tempo to his talk.
Yeah.
You know, and,
just stuff.
Yeah.
You know, just
and
stuff.
I was always envious of that because I'm much more of a that I'm set up punchline kind of a guy as opposed to you know that like you said.
Yeah, it's time.
The sing-songy kind of a
that timing and rhythm. And I think well, we'll get to the where the comedy came in, but yeah. So I mean, being shaped that, and I think losing my leg at the age of 13 to cancer, osteosarcoma.
So that what year was that?
1960.
And so I would imagine that's pretty early stages of the medical world and the cancer treatment and all that, right? It's
yeah. Well, by the way, folks, I got the new one. We got to do that for
He's
comedic
a prop
effect.
act, ladies and gentlemen. He's a prop act.
How I've been accused. The one with the computer. See how the technology has changed. Yeah, I mean, there was no chemo at the time. You know, they thought it was growing pains for like the stuff.
So you're complaining you've got pain in your leg.
Pain in the knee, and everybody's telling me it's growing pains, and yeah, it's 13, you know. So, but and the reason that I emphasize that is, I mean, how fortunate. I mean, because that stuff metastasizes like that. You get it here, and the next thing it's in your head, and out you go. So, you know, that was obviously. That I consider really to be the beginning of my life, when I really awakened to the fact that how precious life is and how it.
Because essentially back then they were saying that it could end quickly.
They hid it from me. They said tumor. They didn't say cancer, so I didn't have that imprinted. You know, if people say to me, you know, I talk to a lot of cancer survivor groups, and if anybody asks me, how do you think you survived? I haven't got a clue, but I do have a clue, and that clue was, after it was done, I didn't even think about it. You know, and the thought never entered my head that I might die. I'd see people getting worked up, and I'm like, I'm 13. You know, you can't die at 13.
Right.
You know? So it's that possibility has never entered my head. And,
but that gave you, like you said early on, this understanding that life is a pretty.
Baby, if you ain't living it, if you ain't. You know, I'd get caught up like everybody else, going to Catholic school where the high school was even more violence, got the brothers to deal with.
You value life, you get through high school, you go to college.
Oh, yeah. Went to Stonehill, and then to UConn.
And then you go into business.
Yeah, well, here's the funny part. I get out with a master's degree in economics during the recession. And this is when, at first I thought I was going to be a teacher because I love the art of instructing. And everything dry. You know, you start, as Steve Jobs says, my hero these days, you'll never know where the dots in your life connect until you look back. You can never know going forward. And then it all makes sense. You see the connections. So I see why I wanted to go to UMass, why I didn't. Instead, I go to Stonehill, where they jam philosophy and theology every semester, 2 courses at least required.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was force-fed Aristotle and Plato and all of these things. So you start to get a world order, rhetoric.
Sure, that helps, and it helps you how to
think, how to process,
and how to think, how to use the process of thinking.
Yeah,
a lot of times, there's a ton of people that have great brains, but nobody ever gave them the instructions on how to use them, so they're not able to put.
Yeah, and later on in life, my salespeople would always call me up a year or two after we had parted ways and say, you know, whenever I come from a problem, I think, how would Tom Hayes handle this? And I didn't understand that innately, because of all that training of the logic and outside the box, et cetera. So I come out, graduate school, there's no jobs. I wanted to teach. Everybody's got masters and advanced degrees. All the colleges are now filled. So now what do I do? So, and I took it in development economics, so I wanted to save the world. I was going to go to Latin America, World Bank, or whatever. And so I take an aptitude test. And by the way, the only instructor, one of my buddies, who I apprenticed under Polaroid for a while, was a Harvard MBA, Annapolis grad, great guy. He signed up a bunch of appointments at Harvard with Harvard profs to see where my master's degree in economics could go. And I meet this great young guy at the Harvard B School. He looks at me and goes, "Simple, do what you like." That was so out of the box in those days, because it was all, you got to go save the world. It was the hippie movement. It was, you got to go to the Peace Corps. You got to do this. You got to do that. You got to be in a rally. And it was like, what? Do what you like? What are you talking about? He goes, yeah, there's a guy in...
Sure, and that was something that doesn't get said to a lot of people.
Nobody was talking, do what you like, and so he said...
do what your father did, do what
get the job, put the 40 years in, and then get the retirement, you're all set, and, a safe job, a secure job is the best job. You'll always have the job.
Right.
Little did they know that the jobs would disappear. So, that struck me, and so I go and I take an aptitude test, and my brother throws this up to me. This is why I believe in a master plan and a destiny. He says, he keeps reminding me to this day, remember that time you took that aptitude test at YMCA? And it was expensive. And he says, it came back and said, you should be an entertainer. And I'm running around.
Master's degree.
$500 $500 to be an entertainer. I can't sing. I obviously can't dance. I don't know an instrument. What the hell are they talking about? What are they talking about? I was furious. And then years go by. Now, here's the thing. I was born into the Italian side. They were magicians. And with politics and things, but I had an uncle who became a semi-professional, actually president of the Pacific Coast Association of Magicians. So I always heard about Frank Pasquarosa and his magic, and he'd dress up in a tuxedo, had all the illusions. And my uncle, who I share the birthday with, was one of the funniest humans on the planet, always with the jokes. And so one of my cousins said, how lucky we were to have that extended family. It was that whole immigrant thing that, all this rich humor and all I get choked up thinking about these people, and these dinners that would last for hours, and the talk at the table, and the digs and the counter digs and, always thinking, and the arguments.
Well, I was the youngest of 6 too, and the neat thing about that is that you're able to watch all this adult interaction. You're not necessarily, you're there, but you're not a full participant, but you're able to watch it. And it was always, to me, a fascinating thing to see these adults talking about these heady topics as a kid, and you just realize how much
that's probably where you got your political bent.
Yeah, that's where I got my big mouth.
Exactly. And, that's what's so sad about today with our new generation.
Yeah,
and
sure.
And there's no central family meal. It's a rarity. Right. There's no chance for this connection, this dialogue, which is just second nature to us.
Right. So how do you start comedy?
So here we are. I learned a few tricks as a kid, but quickly gave it up because a magician is always in an adversarial position. A magician is never truly an entertainer per se. He does entertain, but nobody's on his side. Everybody wants
to see him fail.
Yeah, they do. They want to see you fail.
Oh, I see the bird.
Yeah, I see the bird. I got the open up your sleeve. I see this.
The old Teddy Bergeron line about Peter Pan. He's on a wire.
Exactly. My son-in-law does it to me. He says, my grandson, and he'll tell him, check this out. Look at this. So here I am on this track I went into sales, which again, fits my personality. I was going to be an economist and all of this. Work with numbers didn't work, so I'm out there and sold film for Fujifilm for the Japanese, and brand new to the job, and I'm ready to close on a radiologist, and can't do it, so I bring my boss down, and I said, I can't close on this guy. I need your help. So we walk in, and I said, I gave him a little trial close. Hey, Doc, have you thought about the film? And he says, yeah, I thought about it. He says he was in a bad mood. He says, if you come back here before a month is up, he says, I'll never buy your film. So I thought that was a good signal. I said, well, thanks for your time. And my boss reaches in his pocket, takes out a very simple parlor trick with a stack of nickels and a cylinder. It's no secret, the stack of nickels is only one real nickel. The others is just a little prop, and you put it here and you pick it up and they're gone, false bottom, the whole thing. And I'm horrified. Like, I recognize that this guy just told us to get the heck out of here, and he's going to do a magic trick for this guy. And I'm just horrified. Like, it's taken me months to get this point. Now I'm never going to come back. And he said, hey, Doc, let me just show you something. He said, every time you put a piece of competitive film up instead of ours, that's what happens. And I'm like, oh. And instead of the doc throwing us out or getting mad, he laughs. And I'm like, oh, my God. He brings us, he come in the next room, and he sits us down. He says, show me how you did that. He says, you show me how you do that, I'll buy your film. And so that was the major turning point toward, again, the dot. The dot was the master plan. So I watched this. I come home. I run to the house. I run into the house. I was a packer. I had a box of my little magic tricks from, being a kid. I go up and I grab it. We're going to be rich. We're going to be rich. We're going to sell so much film with this. I did sell some film with it, but more importantly, the doctors would say to me, these are radiologists with, grammar school, high school, college, medical school, residency, the whole deal, really educated people saying to me, I want to see another one. Next week you better have another one. So here I am running back to the magic shop purely to sell film. Plus I'm getting a big kick out of it. I mean, again, it's part of the path, part of who I am. Next thing you know, I've got, they're waiting for me. Doctors in there, they're doing, when they're in the morning when they're doing their barium enemas and everything else, they're all in their aprons. And they're going, patients are in there loaded with barium in pain, ready, and they're going, yeah, we'll be right in. Do it. I know, I saw this, I saw that. And they would yell at me, we're radiologists, we make our living seeing. You can't fool us, but you're fooling us. Anyway, next thing you know, they're asking me to do birthday parties. So again, the dots connect. So I do that. Next thing I know, I'm doing my Calling the Uncle in California. What do I do next? Now, the big turn, I've gravitated toward comedy magic.
And we're going to go and show a clip of you at one of your comedy shows.
Right.
And we'll be right back.
I know. You're all looking at me thinking, so what's this guy going to do, our taxes? Thanks a lot. Really builds the confidence. I got the look, don't I? I'm not happy with it, but I got it anyway. Some guys are lucky. They get that, look at the Schwarzenegger, Stallone, Van Damme thing. I end up with the H&R Block. Thanks a lot. So they say we can actually determine our destiny before we're born. I think I said to God, give me that Jewish accountant. I hear it's a hit with all the babes on the planet. Look at you checking me out. You can't take your eyes off. This is your dream come true, right? Fantasize all you want? I know what you're thinking. I want him to do my taxes. I bet he does a mean 1040, that guy.
So we're back with comedian Tom Hayes. Tom, this is the point of the show where I ask you about your best show, your worst show, and your most unusual show. Start out with your best show.
Best show probably has to be the fact that as the magic progressed, somebody came to, video was just coming out, cable was just coming out, so somebody comes to a show, I do this very funny bit with a guy, a subject, who was clearly the funniest bit, and he was just hysterical. They capture it, Showtime Cable comes along, and I was looking for the funniest person in America, the year that Ellen DeGeneres won for Louisiana, or wherever Indiana, wherever she was, and won national, and I won funniest person in Massachusetts. That's how I got into comedy. Long story, but
so that's a nice, big, strong, quick intro.
Yeah, I mean,
Bing,
all of
bang,
a sudden,
pow. Nice national
comedy
TV
clubs
credit.
are calling me up. Come and do your thing.
Great.
So, worst show.
Yeah, what's your worst show?
Stitches was always my toughest room. I
Comedy hell.
couldn't figure Stitches out, you know. And then I got hot. And in fact, they had a thing to funnel people to the Tonight Show. I was moving right up. I got this place down. Walking one night with my girlfriend, wonderful woman, and just loved to make love, let's put it that way. Very impatient and saying,
Whoopee.
Yes, she loved to make whoopee, and kept saying, let's go, let's go, let's go. I said, I got to do another set. I just crushed on my first set. So we're going to do another set. Now the agents are there, you know, Barry and Nina and all of them. And so all of a sudden, boom, the worst, not a single laugh. Best lesson ever. We walk out to the car. I'm totally dejected, and she says to me, great. Now I suppose you're not going to me. And I said, you know, those people are now distant memory. So probably mixes is the best, the worst, and the most unusual. But
perfect. That's
enough. Yeah, life is sweet.
That's good.
I thought a drink would magically solve all my problems.
And then you don't even have the decency to...
I thought it would give me courage.
I thought that it would help me fit in.
You know, I thought it'd be the life of the party.
I never thought this would happen to me.
I thought I was only hurting myself.
If alcohol has lost its magic for you, and you can't stop drinking,
I took action, and my life has changed.
I'm out living life to the fullest.
Now I have friends that accept me for me.
I realized I don't have to drink anymore.
I've stopped hurting the people that I love.
AA gave me hope.
you'll find us in the phone book, your local newspaper, or on the web at aa.org. Alcoholics Anonymous.
The comedy world was saddened by the loss of one of the great comics of our times, Bob Seibel. He was a close personal friend of mine and of my guest, Tom Hayes. We sat down and reminisced about our times performing and traveling with Bob. Bob will be missed by all. So we're going to take a special divergence from the show because we're noting a passing of a colleague of ours, the beloved crazy uncle of the Boston comedy scene, a man known as Bob Seibel. He was one of my guests, and he's departed us too soon. He was one of the legends of the Boston comedy scene, good friends of both mine and Tom's, and so we'd like to actually just talk about him a little bit and share our feelings and bask in the goodwill and humanity that Bob brought to all of us, because he was a hell of a laugh bringer. It was a gifted entertainer and a hell of a comedian, one of the greatest.
The greatest. You can safely say no greater character ever hit the planet. And I can feel the chills. He's probably in the room with us right now. For 2 days, I've been feeling him going, and it's just, like a big suck. Just.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's just, you were saying about an unusual show. I remember we were down in Quincy in one of these dives, and I used to do a magic trick again, where I'd break a cupcake in somebody's, give the illusion of making a cupcake, and at the end I would douse a handkerchief with lighter fluid and then torch it, big flames, and I put it in the guy's pocket, come on. So Bob is in the audience. I'm waiting to go on. The guy I'm working on with this thing grabs the lighter fluid from me, takes it, sucks the fluid, seemed like the whole bottle. And I'm standing, grabs my lighter and goes, like a flamethrower. This thing shoots out along the ceiling. I'm surprised it didn't trigger up. And Seibel's in the back going, holy shit, look at that.
Oh,
but there's a million, as you know, a million stories about that amazing human.
Yeah.
And I was blessed to. I retired early so I could spend time with him. I really did.
Yeah.
and traveled many places. One of them, the best, was Prague, Czech, for the funniest, most intense week of my life.
Yeah.
You know, I could probably, hopefully, if I live long enough, I can do a movie about it. I'll have to play him because I can play him. God bless him. But yeah, what do we do now? I mean, it's not. He's so huge that it's the passing of an era.
Yeah.
It is not a passing of a human. I think so many people were so connected to him because he gave so many laughs and connections. And
one of the great so there's all kinds of different types of people in the business, and Bob was one of the ones that his stage persona was him. And so he was as funny off stage as he was on stage, because it was just like I said, he had funny bones. It was just he was so steeped in that,
just being himself,
and it was just so funny. Just you would get these voicemails from when he would just
well, he wouldn't
the
talk.
stream of consciousness voicemail.
Well, he wouldn't talk because he didn't want to use up the minutes. He was so cheap and so in the extremely Jack Benny had nothing on how cheap he was. So he would use this, and he told me when he got the cell phone. I said, "I'm gonna get the cell phone." I said, "I'm going to drop the house phone." I said, what do you mean you're going to drop the house phone? I said, "You've had the house phone for 20-something years. It's how people get in touch with you. They call a house phone, Bob. You can't do that." I says, "Oh, it's $25 a month." And I says, "Yeah, but Bobby, one phone call, $300 pays. I can't take that chance." so he dropped the cell, but would never talk to you on the cell phone. He'd be, "I'll call you." But I found out the trick. What he was doing all the time is he was calling in, listening to who left messages in case there was an agent or somebody, and he would call them back. But he wouldn't. You had to wait till after 9 o'clock at night. Till he found Diana and then used her cell phone.
I got to know him from the Amherst Country Club. So I was a kid going to watch those shows, and the night that me and my brother Vint went and saw Bob, and I think that set the bar for laughter in my life. I just remember that particular night with him as the headliner, and there was just so much that he said that made me laugh, and it was one of the things that really, really just made me want to do comedy, was just seeing how powerful it was to grab the audience and, shake them until they're doubled over. And I was doubled over.
And when he got to the point where, when he started, he was like all of us. He wanted material, and he got material wherever he could. As we all did, And then he just became his own person, and just the stories.
Yeah.
I remember just recently, I always stayed to watch him because you just never knew what he was going to come up with, what the latest story would be. And I think the one about the clothing in the Goodwill.
The Goodwill. Oh God, yeah. Maybe I can find a clip of that. But
I have it on.
So funny.
I got it from him in the. But yeah, he just. What can you say?
Yeah, he sucked the marrow out of life. He traveled the world, and he told jokes, and he always would, meet me at the Durgan Park. There's a band there that I love, and he'd go, and there'd be this great band.
Yeah.
And I remember he would, and so I met him. I was, my 20s, and he would send me, postcards, invite me to all of his birthday parties. I get these crazy postcards that he would write on, and great pictures of them. And he would say, "I always write peace and love." And that was like back then. I'm like, oh my God, this guy said that he loved me. It was such a touching thing. He was
all love. He personified love and innocence. And it came to me. Did you see the text I said about what's on his headstone?
Yeah.
He was just a kid. He had this great line about Sinatra. When he said, remember when somebody died, you said, they lived a long life. But now you're in your 60s. You're like,
what happened?
What happened? He was just a kid.
And
that headstone.
We're out of time.
All right, but that headstone, that's Bobby, just a kid.
He was just a kid because he was.
Yeah.
All right, man.
Thanks you so
Thomas.
much. All right, blast.
And I'd like to thank today's guest, comedian Tom Hayes.
You heard the news? I'm like a tonic, wanna laugh away your blues and let the good times roll. Everybody let the good times roll. No matter if you're young or old, all you gotta do is get together and let the good times roll. Do it great.